It's been a few days, but I decided to record something about the Xbox Games Showcase and Starfield Direct that took place this past Sunday in the year that is 2023. It's been a while since I've actually recorded anything in general, so I was actually just taking some notes. I thought about doing a recap of some of the other showcases, like the PlayStation and Ubisoft Forward. Then there's that Capcom showcase that I didn't watch, but apparently wasn't very good. That didn't really show anything new. But yeah, I decided to, let's get in front of the microphone. Let's talk about this Xbox Game Showcase that, kind of just quick thoughts, I think is one of their best showcases in quite some time. Specifically game-wise, I'm still a person that still thinks their E3 2013 press conference, that was the disastrous one with the price of $500 of the Xbox One, all that stuff was crazy. But I think when you actually look at that conference just with games in general, I think it was actually a really solid showing. But going into this showcase, we had a lot of things we didn't know about, and there's still even a lot of games that they've announced, like Contraband and Everwild and Perfect Dark and whatnot, that we didn't even get here. But we did get some new news on things like Fable and Avowed, and like Compulsion, what they were working on. We finally got to see some of that stuff, so very happy to see those things, and we'll get to those in due time. But to start off the show, we do get that, as I just mentioned, Fable from Playground Games. This was shown off the very last game at the 2020 Xbox and Bethesda showcase. Maybe it wasn't and Bethesda showcase at that point, I don't remember. I just remember that 2020 showcase basically being the Craig showcase, which is where Halo Infinite got shown off, and then of course everybody made the Craig meme, and then they delayed the game, all that fun stuff. So it almost looks like it was CGI, and I know people are still going back and forth on this, but it was an in-game trailer, as a little text they said at the bottom, and I really like the comedy that they showed in it. It seemed to kind of channel some of those older games. The only Fable I think I've really ever played was Fable 3, and I want to say that was like one of the very first games they put on like Games with Gold back in, actually thinking of 2013 when they started doing that. And I had Xbox Live Gold at the time, so I downloaded Fable 3. I probably only played it for like an hour or so. I don't remember anything about it. But yeah, a new Fable coming. We did have Fable Legends that was supposed to be a thing. I can't remember if that was even supposed to be free to play. It was like a 4-player game that got canceled. Then of course Lionhead Studios got shut down after that. So this is finally the return of that franchise. There was no date, but I'm really happy to see more of this. I don't know when we're going to see more. I feel like other things, they were confident to put 2024 dates on a lot of different things in this showcase, but they didn't commit to 2024 on this game. So I'm wondering if this could even be a 2025 game, unfortunately. Moving on to the second showing, second game they showed was South of Midnight. So this is Compulsion Games. They made 2 other games prior to this, Contrast and We Happy Few. I never did play We Happy Few, but of course they had that just awesome opening that they showed off at years ago at E3. Had that beginning opening that looked kind of like Bioshocky. And then of course, then I think it ended up just being like a survival game or something like that after, like randomly generated maybe. I don't remember too much about it. But the other game, Contrast, was a PS4 launch game. That was one of the first free games on, I think it might have been the first free PlayStation Plus game when the PS4 released alongside Resogun. But yeah, they're finally back. It's been a while since We Happy Few, and this is South of Midnight. We saw some in-engine footage, which I feel like if you watch the PlayStation conference, there were a lot of things like Fair Games and what was the name of that other game they showed? Concord. That's what I was thinking of. I was thinking Contraband. That's not right. Concord. That they showed trailers that it's like, oh, this tells me nothing about the game. I don't know why you even showed me this because I don't know anything about it. I kind of felt this way about South of Midnight. Kind of shows this like old raggedy skull and bones kind of guy playing a guitar, and then your character shows up and has some kind of magic powers. The majority of what I know about this game, I had to read from the press release and what was on the Xbox Wire. So it is a third-person action-adventure game set in the American Deep South, and you play as a gal named Hazel. So I think that's really about all they said. I don't think they put any date on this as well. But I am intrigued to see more. I'm a big fan of Contrast. Maybe someday I'll get around to We Happy Few and maybe play that for like a little bit and see what the opening of that was. But yeah, again, this is one I definitely want to see gameplay, but it's hard to kind of complain about that when you got gameplay for several other things in this showcase. And the last one before they went to their little opening was Star Wars Outlaws. So this is from Ubisoft Massive, who also showed up at the Ubisoft Forward. So we knew they were working on like probably some Division 2 stuff. And we also knew they were working on that Avatar Frontiers of Pandora. But we knew they were working on an open world Star Wars game, but I will admit I was very surprised to see this here. Specifically I figured that entire studio was going to be working on trying to finish Avatar. But no, we got a cinematic trailer here. Gave me very heavy Star Wars 1313 vibes. It's set between The Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, and is also, as I mentioned, an open world game. We did get to see gameplay at the Ubisoft Forward, which I did watch that, and I think it was a good chunk of gameplay they showed, though I thought it looked a little clunky, or I just felt like movement looked a little stiff. I guess that might be a better word. But you play as Kay Vess, and you have a companion little squirrel thing, rabbit, dog, I don't know what it is, but companion Nyx. And I think this is a big deal because this is like the first first non-EA Star Wars game coming out. So we've had Squadrons and Jedi Survivor and Jedi Fallen Order and Battlefront and Battlefront 2. But yeah, this is going to be, I guess like maybe there might be some mobile stuff. But yeah, this is going to be the first non-EA big Star Wars game releasing. And this is coming out in 2024. And I don't know why, but I just immediately can see this game getting pushed to 2025. I don't know, something about it just doesn't seem like, with that kind of scale that they're doing, I just feel like they want to make it right. And especially like the EA in the past, not releasing tons of finished things. They've been doing really well recently, but before that, they kind of struggled with that. Yeah, it feels like a more, to make a comparison to an EA game or EA Star Wars game, it does seem like a more open world Jedi Fallen Order, where it is kind of like, hey, you have these like set locations and the story beats, but it just seems like you have a lot more freedom and you can actually go into space and travel into space rather than just transferring, like basically like, having a cutscene loading screen play out in between planets. I'm really interested to see how many planets you can actually visit, though. Maybe they've said that afterwards. I didn't see it anywhere. Like, how big is this leash that you're given? Like, can you go everywhere on the planet? Can you go to any moon that you see? How far is the map in the galaxy? Just stuff like that. It's something I definitely want to play. I mean, I really enjoy playing all the Star Wars games, but at this point, I don't know if it's a day one for me. I played Jedi Fallen Order years after it came out. I did not pick up Jedi Survivor yet. The really only thing that can get me to buy a Star Wars game day one would probably be a new like Republic Commando or like an Imperial Commando, those kind of things that rumors keep popping up here and there. But those are about the only things that would get me to buy a Star Wars game day one nowadays. Sarah Bond then showed up talking about how cool games are. She didn't really say much, just saying games are for everyone, that kind of stuff, just kind of introing the rest of the show. Then we got 33 Immortals from Thunder Lotus, the developers of Spiritfarer. I was kind of surprised to maybe see them this quick with a new game, but I guess maybe it was about the right time. So it is a 33-player co-op game, top-down. It's kind of isometric. Per the Xbox Wire, you play as a damsel and rebel against God's final judgment. So I think that's actually a pretty cool scenario. It is another phrase they used was pick up and raid matchmaking. And it seems like a very visually pleasing game. I don't know why. I mean, I try not to compare like everything to other things, but it just seemed like a kind of a Hades kind of art style, but maybe not as visually pleasing as something like maybe Hades was. Kind of interested to see how this game works. They showed a little bit of it at the Xbox Game Showcase Extended. I'm assuming there's no voice chat. Maybe there's like local split screen. I'm not sure how all that's going to work. Looks chaotic and fun. That comes out in 2024. Also coming to Game Pass, and I think this is absolutely a game that is perfect for Game Pass. I should also mention, of course, like Fable, South of Midnight coming to Game Pass, of course, being first-party games. Other than only like a few games in this showcase, pretty much everything's coming to Game Pass, and I'll try and point them out when they do not come. But yeah, Next up, we got Payday 3, and this is, I believe, still developed by Starbreeze. Man, I remember playing the original game on PS3. It was Payday the Heist. And I remember playing it. I remember it was really cool because, back then you didn't get a ton of PSN-only games. And I remember the shooting not being great. So I never did play Payday 2. Hopefully Payday 3 is even more of an improvement. I know Payday 2 has been big. I think it's had a lot of legs over the years. But we did get a little bit of a gameplay trailer, and yeah, it looks like more Payday. That's coming out September 21st, coming out on Game Pass. Next, we got I think it's one of 3 Atlas-related announcements. We got Persona 3 Reload. So this is the Persona 3 remake we've been hearing rumors about. And I might have to throw a correction on this, but I thought I saw this does not include any of the Fez or portable content. So this is like just straight vanilla Persona 3 remake, essentially. I've never played a Persona game, but I think the series always intrigues me. If I ever got close to playing one, it probably would have been 4 Golden on the Vita, like a lot of people, but never did pull the trigger and buy that. Comes out in early 2024. This game is also coming to Game Pass. But some of the other things they mentioned about with the game has a new battle system, new English voiceover, and soundtrack. So interested to see more for that. I really love the kind of like blue style where like, I guess Persona 4 is more like a yellow and Persona 5 is more of like a red. This has like more of a blue aesthetic, which I think is really neat. I think it shows off kind of the Persona style a little bit more, that blue kind of, I guess, shadering background, whatever, wallpaper. But moving on, we got another game that I assumed was probably going to be here, but it's just kind of a weird placement, I guess. It is Avowed by Obsidian Entertainment. We also saw this, I think, at the 2020 showcase. This got a teaser trailer back then, and the art style is very much different here. It is a lot more colorful, and I actually think I prefer this art style. I just feel like I saw the first Avowed trailer that was CG, and it just seemed to be like, I don't know, maybe like a Skyrim kind of look. I don't really know, but I really like this more colorful look. So it's set in Eora, if I'm saying that right. That is in the Pillars of Eternity universe, and first-person RPGs, I'm sure you guys know. One thing that was interesting was I feel like when the Outer Worlds came out, they were kind of like, okay, this is like you could maybe call it like a Fallout kind of style game. But this game called Avowed, like that's like the really big game that we're going for. That's like our next huge RPG. And I think people immediately kind of thought like, oh, this is just going to be the next like Skyrim. But according to some of the interviews from what I've been hearing is it doesn't seem like it's as big as Skyrim and is more kind of in line with the Outer Worlds, which I think is good. I like that a lot more. I like kind of those tighter experiences. It feels like the world isn't as big, so like you can probably pack more into that world and make more detail into that world and make little things more meaningful than if you just made this huge open world that just has a bunch of just emptiness in it. I definitely prefer the tighter experience. As I mean, games are so long nowadays and there's so much to do, kind of like Assassin's Creed RPGs. I'm looking at you, but I definitely want smaller, more manageable games. And I think that's just a thing of getting older too, and more games and less time to play games and all that stuff. But yeah, as someone who's like, I'll admit I'm intimidated by Skyrim a lot of times. Like when I see it, it just feels like this is a lot more manageable. That's got a 2024 release date, and I don't know why. I feel like this could be like a spring-ish title. Like I'm kind of looking towards like a March, April release for Avowed. I'm wondering if they thought that they could have maybe put like early 2024, but they didn't. They just put a 2024. And considering how much we saw of it, I think this could be ready to go in the next maybe 8-10 months or so. Moving on is another first-party Xbox Game Studios game we know a lot about, but this is Sea of Thieves popping up yet again. And I was nervous because I think it was the last Sea of Thieves trailer. I think it was 2 years ago. They had the Pirates of the Caribbean, and then last year it was like a little music video jingle where it was like, you can customize your ship. Like that's what they showed off in the showcase. But this time, I thought, when I saw Lucasfilm, I thought it was going to be Indiana Jones, which I thought would have been weird, because of course, like with the movie coming out. But no, it is The Legend of Monkey Island. And I think this might be one of my favorite things I saw at this show. It's coming out July 20th. I really enjoyed the Monkey Island games. Haven't played Return to Monkey Island yet, but I did play the first two, actually on PS Now through the cloud streaming on PS3, not too long ago. I also even played the what was that? Tales of Monkey Island. That was the PS3. It might have been on PC or Xbox as well, but that was the adventure game by Telltale. So, but anyways, I've never played Sea of Thieves, but I feel like I might have to now. I really love Monkey Island. I think it's really cool. I love like Guybrush Threepwood, which his voice actor is in this game. That's really cool. But I'm not entirely sold on the art style of Sea of Thieves matching with Monkey Island. I thought Guybrush and oh my gosh, why am I spacing on his name? Stan. I think it's Stan. The guy who sells you the ship and all that stuff. They just look a little weird in the Sea of Thieves art. But yeah, so many references to the original game, like Melee Island, the Scum Bar, and you see LeChuck show up. Apparently, some of the other things I read after the fact, it's a 3-part series, and it is free. It's like a free expansion, free update. I guess so. Like the first part will launch July 20th, and the other parts will launch after that. I didn't actually see how the Pirates of the Caribbean one like checked out. Like I don't know how many parts it was or how long it was. So this might be something similar to that. But yeah, I mentioned like the Guybrush voice actor is the same. And man, that music, I love the music of Monkey Island. I think it is just so good. Moving on, we got another Xbox Game Studios game. We got 2 more in a row here. But yeah, this one is Microsoft Flight Simulator. It's like, okay, yeah, that's fine. But 2024, this is a brand new release, brand new standalone game. And according to the Xbox Wire, it is a sequel to the 2020 game. And it looks like all current aircraft will be supported, and whatever purchases you made on Microsoft Flight Simulator, I guess 2020, will transfer over to the 2024 game. And I even read on the like little FAQ they had on their website that they're still going to update the 2020 game even after the 2024 game launches. So I think that's kind of good. So I'm assuming like if you're on Xbox Game Pass or whatever, you can go and still buy the 2020 game even after 2024 launches. It really just seems like 2024 with their advertising has just more kind of like case scenario, like almost like training things. Some of the ones they showed off was like firefighting, search and rescue, cargo transport, agriculture, and more. I absolutely love these trailers they put out. I'm so excited. Like they have these, I think it's on the Microsoft Flight Simulator, like I guess YouTube channel or even like the Xbox YouTube channel. They have these world trailers they put out. And man, I've watched them like multiple times because they're just absolutely gorgeous. I love watching them. I think they like it makes like I'm a pilot. I used to be a pilot, I guess I'll say, but it just makes me even want to go fly again or even play this game. I think just they're so good looking. But it is a little weird to see that it is a new game and not an update. That was kind of little weird because most of the people, I guess, like if you're wanting these other training things, you're gonna have to pay up, like especially if you're on PC. But I mean, you might just have PC Game Pass, you might have Game Pass Ultimate on console as well, and you'll have this game in there when it launches. But I guess I just thought that this new just Microsoft Flight Simulator was just going to be a constantly ever updating game. So it almost makes you wonder in another 3-4 years if they're going to announce another Microsoft Flight Simulator and put something else out. Just kind of very interested to see. I would have expected something like Microsoft Flight Simulator to show up, but I was not going to expect to see a brand new game. Yeah, coming out, I would assume 2024 with that kind of name. I don't know. They didn't say a month. I could see this as a summer release, so maybe like a July, August. So it's going to be about a year or change from now, but you never know when it's coming out. Then they teased a little bit. I mean, they've done this with like Halo and I think maybe Gears or some other things as well. Yeah, they had the Top Gun vehicle, but yeah, we have a vehicle from Dune, which I never saw Dune, but it's some bird, bug, flight vehicle looking thing. I don't know what it is. You can let me know down in the comments below. But that's coming to Microsoft Flight Simulator as well. I think that has a date for maybe later this fall. I don't remember. I didn't write that down. But yeah, that's Microsoft Flight Simulator from Asobo Studio. Just happy to always see more of that game. Moving on to a game that I do know pretty well. It is going to be, so it's officially Senua's Saga, Hellblade 2. So it's not Hellblade 2, Senua's Saga. I don't know if that's a new thing. Anyways, this is by Ninja Theory, coming out in 2024. So there were rumors, and I don't, not really a rumor, but just speculation that this could have come out at the end of this year, which I think it actually, that was kind of what I was going to assume. I was like, this game might be this year, because we saw this, what was it, the Game Awards 2019 when they announced the Xbox Series X. So yeah, we kind of figured that like this is going to be pretty close, but 2024 is the date. We had the actress on stage to show us what we're going to see, and then really we just got a gameplay cinematic. I don't really know if Senua was like hallucinating in this, but she's in like a cave and there's these voices and images. I don't know. I thought we could have seen more. It's been a long time. We did get what was it, maybe 2 years ago at the Game Awards. Then we got the them fighting the troll, and they kind of mentioned it a little bit when this kind of section started up again. But yeah, I just kind of wanted to see a little bit more. I think the performance capture is absolutely just a beautiful. I ended up playing the first Hellblade kind of years after it came out, because it was kind of like a PlayStation-backed game originally. Then it came to Xbox, and then everybody loved it on Xbox, and then that's when Microsoft purchased Ninja Theory. But yeah, I ended up playing on PS4. I platinumed it. I thought it was a great experience. I really want to play this one at some point. Yeah, I thought we could see maybe a developer direct later this year with some more info, but I don't know if and when that's going to be the case. I would expect another, I mean, just kind of a side tangent, I would expect a developer direct later this year, maybe like, I don't know, September, October kind of time frame, but I guess we'll just have to wait and see. Next up, we had Ichiban showing up, waking up naked on a beach, I'm guessing in America. This is Like a Dragon Infinite Welfare, and of course they had the infinite with the 8, so this would be like a Dragon 8 or Yakuza 8. So it's kind of a funny comedic trailer with like items like masking his stuff, we'll just call it that. I really like Yakuza. I haven't played a ton of them, so I've only played 0, Kiwami, and Kiwami 2. Kind of played them a little out of order, but I played Kiwami 1, then 0, then Kiwami 2. And I'm actually currently playing through Yakuza 3 on PS4, and that's on the PlayStation Plus extra premium tiers, whatever. So I'm hoping to get through these games. I've got a long ways to go. I mean, Kiryu's my guy. I love Kiryu. And yeah, like Yakuza's just like, I don't know why, but it's just like my feel-good series. Like, I just enjoy playing Yakuza, and just like the stories they're telling, and just how wacky and wild it is, and just like the sub-stories where, like, the side quests essentially were like Kiryu's just helping people, and like no matter what, like Kiryu's there to help, and you just feel good helping people. I don't know why. I really enjoy this series. But early 2024 for Like a Dragon Infinite Welfare. So apparently this is also supposed to have Kiryu in it. I don't know if Yakuza Like a Dragon, which is Yakuza 7, that first game that had Ichiban, I don't know if Kiryu's in that game, but they're kind of like doing this side game that we've seen a little bit called Like a Dragon Gaiden, like the man who stole his name or forgot his name or something like that. I can't remember what the title is, but yeah, Kiryu's in that. I think that's really cool. So Kiryu's supposed to be in this game as well. So one thing that's interesting, this game is not confirmed for Game Pass. I would have just originally been like, oh yeah, it's come to Game Pass. All the other Yakuza games came to Game Pass. Like a Dragon was on Game Pass when it launched. And yeah, not confirmed for Game Pass right now. So that's pretty interesting. But it's a series I want to keep playing and really actually commit to. Because like we got all the rest of the Yakuza games. So I got like 3, 4, 5, 6, and then Like a Dragon, and then now Infinite Welfare, and then we had Gaiden announced, and then we got Like a Dragon Ishin, and I know they're not like Yakuza games, but then Judgment and then Lost Judgment I want to play. Like there is so much that RGG Studio has put out that I just absolutely want to play. It's all on my list. It's all in the backlog, and maybe someday I will get to it. Moving on, we did see a Bethesda trailer of something. I was like, oh man, is this going to be like a Fallout remaster? Like Fallout 3 remaster or New Vegas? No, it's the obligatory Fallout 76 trailer. I guess they're going to Atlantic City. It's like a TV promotional commercial style trailer. I thought we were going to see, like some more other kind of Fallout news, but nope, just this expansion. I guess people must still play it. Doesn't seem to be a lot of details, just coming soon. I feel like the showcase started to drag a little bit here, but that's about it. I kind of put on a note that I'm like, this is another game that is kind of like an obligation to show, because we have one earlier and one in a couple, or about 3 or 4 ones left. More after this, that it just feels like they're obligations. Like, I guess I'll just say it, but this and Elder Scrolls Online are like, yep, we bought Bethesda, we gotta show this because we keep supporting these games. It's like, did you really need to show these games here again? But I guess people keep playing them. I don't know. I don't really have anything else to say about Fallout 76. I played the beta, which of course the launch was absolutely terrible. The one funny thing I remember when I played Fallout 76 is you walk out of the vault and then it turns into multiplayer. And I was listening to a podcast, and I guess like my headset or whatever I was listening, microphone or whatever I was listening to it on was on. And I walked out, and then somebody just yelled at me to turn my mic down. And I was like, yep, this is why I don't like playing online games. Yeah, so moving on, we got Kunitsugami. I'm assuming I'm saying that right. The Path of the Goddess. This is from Capcom. When I thought this showed up, probably like a lot of people, I thought this was some kind of weird Onimusha thing. I mean, they remastered that first game for PS4, but we've gotten nothing else since, so I'm assuming that didn't go over very well. It's got a Japanese aesthetic, runs on the RE engine that pretty much powers basically everything Capcom does nowadays. From Devil May Cry, of course, Resident Evil, and I don't know, a Street Fighter on the RE engine for some weird reason. I don't know. But dark but colorful game. So you can see a lot of like darks in the area, but I feel like it's very colorful. I like the like kind of fixed moving camera angles where it's, you know, it's not following, like it just follows the character. It's not like a free form camera that you're controlling, I would assume. Has a horror vibe going on. It might be kind of more something close to like Ghostwire Tokyo, where like Ghostwire Tokyo is not like a horror game, but it has like horror elements and monsters and stuff like that. Looks like there are other opportunities to command other members in like kind of a strategy as well. This game is confirmed coming to Game Pass, but this has no date on it. And I did not watch the Capcom showcase, but I don't know if this game showed up at all. So I might have to check back on that. The other Xbox Game Studios game, we got Forza Motorsport, finally, again, from Turn 10. I had to look this up. Forza 7, this is not counting the Horizon games, because those are made by Playground. The last Forza game, Motorsport, that came out was Forza 7 in 2017. So it's been a while since we've seen Turn 10, publish a new Forza game. Saw this a little bit at the developer direct. They didn't really say much. I think it just basically talked about like what tracks and how many tracks are going to be in the game and stuff like that. Well, talk about Corvettes and Cadillacs. Just, of course, you have to show a car on stage whenever they talk about these things. Lots of customization options I don't understand and never will. I wrote that as one of the bullet points. That I even like when I played Gran Turismo, I was like, oh, all this to create drag and all this. I'm like, I don't know any of this. But of course, the game looks beautiful. They didn't tell us a ton again, which I'm honestly thankful for. I remember what was a couple years ago, they had Forza Horizon, was it 5? They spent like 10 minutes on it at the showcase, and it really dragged. So I'm really kind of glad I was sitting with a friend, and I was just about to say, I was like, man, I hope they don't keep going with this. And then it was like they were done. So I was very thankful for that. And kind of like I predicted, even before the rest of the showcase was finished, I kind of assumed that this and Starfield were going to be the two big games in the fall for Xbox. But yeah, this game releases October 10th, and we finally have a release date. I know the October 10th date was kind of floating around a little bit, but wasn't officially confirmed, but we did get the confirmation here. Kind of mentioned the Elder Scrolls Online. This is Elder Scrolls Online Necrom, of course, from ZeniMax Online Studios. This is the other game that feels like they just have to show because it's part of Xbox now. I don't really have anything to say about this. They even showed this at the developer direct. They spent time on this as well. Go play it, I guess, if you care. The expansion comes out June 20th, so it's right around the corner. We got Overwatch 2, Invasion, which is, I guess, a new expansion. This is from Blizzard, and I wrote, oh boy. So Probably some PR damage control to do with the PvE just getting canceled. They showed a lot in this trailer that I don't really know what was what. I had to look some of this up. New story missions, new support hero, Flashpoint game mode, and more. And then also the co-op missions are also coming. If you have Game Pass Ultimate, you get the new Hero Starter Pack, Heroes and Skins. This is all coming out August 10th. I never played Overwatch. It never really interested me. I'm not really a hero shooter kind of person. It feels like when a lot of people saw Overwatch 2 pop up, they're just like, who really cares? I don't know. I'm sure there's people out there. I'm sure like the Steam charts are crazy, or probably not Steam, but like Battle.net charts are crazy for this. Personally, I don't know anybody that was like really all that excited to see this. It just feels like Overwatch has just completely fallen off for a lot of people when it was so big back in 2016. It just feels like it's really fallen off. The next Atlas game we got was Persona 5 Tactica, which is more Persona in the, I guess we'll just say in the Persona 5 universe. It's a tactics strategy game spin-off, set in the Persona 5 universe, kind of as you can imagine. Not sure where it takes place in the universe. I tried to look this up, but I didn't really see much. Maybe I just missed it. But I'm like, does this take place after the main game or like before the main game? Does this take place after Strikers, which is like the other Musou game that was made by Omega Force? I don't know where this game takes place. I never played Persona 5 or Persona 5 Royal. Comes out November 17th, 2023, and this game is also coming to Game Pass. Kind of a weird thing here, because it said like Bethesda presents, and I'm like, oh, what are we gonna get? We're gonna get like Wolfenstein 3, we're gonna get that Indiana Jones game, like what are we gonna get here? And it was just a Starfield trailer. It was a Starfield trailer reminding you that the Starfield Direct is coming up next, as if you couldn't read that from the title of the video when you're watching the live stream. I don't know, I thought it was a weird thing where they just like, it's just a hype up to be like, hey, remember the Starfield Direct's coming. Like, yeah, we know, we're watching. Yeah, that was really all about it. It was September 6th that's coming out. I have that written down later. Next up, we have another game from Don't Nod. Of course, people who made, of course, the big hit Remember Me, if you remember that. But Don't Nod, of course, basically kind of got their foothold with Life is Strange. They came out with Vampire after that. They've had other games. They had that game with Xbox called Tell Me Why. Another game announced for them. They've got multiple projects going right now. I know they've got, it was like an indie game I can't remember the name of that was made, not made, but it was on like one of the Nintendo Indie Directs. I don't remember what that game's called. I apologize. And then they even had, oh man, I'm forgetting what this one's called too. It's like the Ghost Hunter game that's been shown off at the Jeff Keighley events last couple times. But yeah, they've been pretty busy recently with a lot of projects. I want to say, wasn't Don't Nod, didn't they do that Twin Mirror also? Is that them? I wanted to play that as well at some point, but I don't think that was really received all that well. This is a narrative game with outspoken dialogue. And I think one of the other words they used was a meditative journey. You have a companion of Ballast, Ballast. It's a companion that is made entirely out of water. And you kind of saw that little creature, I'll call it, in the backpack of the main character. I don't know why, but I feel like this companion's going to die at the end of this game. It just feels like one of those games. Lots of climbing. Kind of gave me some Rime vibes, if you remember that game from Tequila Works. I really enjoyed that game. But yeah, just exploring uncharted land and stuff like that. I feel like that kind of resonated with me. And maybe there's just a little bit of the art as well, kind of on an island and climbing and stuff like that. But this is coming out fall 2023 and is also coming to Game Pass. Another game coming to Game Pass. We got multiple games coming to Game Pass. I think we've got a lot in a row here, and we've had some. But Still Wakes the Deep. This is the new game from the Chinese Room. They made that game Machine for Pigs. It was the Amnesia game. They even made Everybody's Gone to the Rapture, which I didn't love, but I thought it was okay. I just remember the walking speed being so dreadful in that game. I feel like they even put out a patch at some point to even like increase the walking speed in Everybody's Gone to the Rapture. I don't 100% remember. Early 2024 for this game is a first-person narrative horror game. You are an oil rig worker and you must fight for your life. So I don't know why this game just came out, but Amnesia the Bunker kind of gave me some vibes of this game. You're exploring an area, you're avoiding a monster, you got to get out alive. I'm in for it. I like these kinds of games, but I say I like these kind of games when I compare it to Amnesia the Bunker, but I think Amnesia the Bunker is a little too scary for me. Been watching some stuff online for that, and that seems terrifying. It's just, unfortunately, this could be another backlog game for me, but I'd love to play it. Again, this is also coming to Game Pass, and as primarily a PlayStation player, I don't have an Xbox or even Game Pass for that matter. So looking at my old PC, I'm looking at right now that I'm recording this on. I'm like, might have to upgrade this guy and play this and play the Sea of Thieves, Monkey Island, and then all the other things that have been showing off here. But we'll see. Just so much to play. Kind of getting closer and closer to the end of this showcase. I was going to call it direct, but it's a showcase. We have Dungeons of Hinterberg. This is a game by Microbird. And you look at it and you're like, is this some weird kind of Hi-Fi Rush expansion? But no, it's not. It's a brand new game with beautiful art. One thing I didn't like about this trailer was there were a lot of quick cuts, which I guess makes sense like when you're probably early in development and a game coming out next year. But I actually really wanted to see just like this game more in motion than what it was. It's set in the Austrian Alps. Looks like some cool combat and puzzle scenarios. Didn't get to see a ton else about what's going on with the game. Just a lot of the art and visuals and, of course, combat and puzzles. Comes out 2024. Is also coming to Game Pass, and I am ready to see more for sure. And next, one of the few times they keep going back to the stage, we had Keanu Reeves. He's back. And he's here to talk about Cyberpunk 2077 Phantom Liberty. I never did play the original Cyberpunk 2077, but I really want to. Idris Elba is in this Phantom Liberty expansion, which we kind of knew that. We're going to a new district of Dogtown. I would assume it's a pretty big expansion. It's going to be $30. That's what Steam says. You can pre-order it now. Yeah, I mean, Hearts of Stone and Blood and Wine for Witcher 3 expansions were very big. I did play Hearts of Stone. Actually played that for a review on the old PSN Store's website back in the day. Did really enjoy that. Man, like, I've started Witcher 3 so many times, and I just can't, it's that kind of thing you get like 5-10 hours in with me, and I'm like, now I gotta start it over again because it's been like 8 months since I've played it and I want to play it again. I really just need to play more of that. But man, when you just think about how big that game is, it is just, I am overwhelmed. If I'm overwhelmed by Skyrim, I'm overwhelmed by Witcher 3 for sure. Not surprising, but it seems like this is going to be Xbox Series X and S only, so no Xbox One, no PS4 versions of this. Kind of like what they did with Horizon Forbidden West on PlayStation, that, whatever they call that, Burning Shores DLC is only on next gen on PS5, so yeah, I'm not surprised with kind of how bad the Xbox One, PS4 versions were. I doubted they were going to try and improve that and release this expansion on that. But it comes out September 26th. I don't think we had a date for that until this showcase. So that was a new release, a new announcement for the release date for that. A few more games, as I kind of mentioned. City Skyline 2, the wording, you make cities. This is coming out October 24th. Probably more of an expansive game than the first, but I'm not really into those kind of games. I still think it looks beautiful. I love like those kind of the look of some of those sim games. Like, I was kind of joking with a friend I was watching it with, that it's like, man, what if you could like import your city into like Microsoft Flight Simulator and you like fly around? I know that's like pretty much impossible, but I think that'd just be kind of a cool scenario if you could fly around your city that you create. Next, we got the third Atlas game, Metaphor Refantizo. I'm really bad at this. Studio Zero. This is kind of one of the Persona team creators. It's coming out 2024. It's another Atlas game. So a lot of big announcements for them and Sega in general, just a lot of big announcements. I thought it was like a Shin Megami Tensei game, but it is not. It's more of like a fantasy RPG, so almost like a fantasy Persona kind of things. It's not on Game Pass, which is interesting because Persona 3 Reloaded, and if that was the name, and then Persona 5 Tactica were coming to Game Pass, but this was not listed as coming to Game Pass. And as of recording this, they did announce that this game was coming to, I think, PS4 and PS5. So we did get that announcement today as of recording. I'm recording this on June 15th. But yeah, there were a lot of things happening in this trailer that I had no clue what was happening. So I don't really have too much else to say about it. But yeah. 2 more games before the big closer. And both of these were from Xbox Game Studios. So a really good turnout from Xbox Game Studios games. This is from the, what is this called? Stoic, which is the Banner Saga developers. This is Towerborn. Co-op adventure, kind of a beat 'em up to 4 players. Has a lot of beautiful art. and almost like borderline cell shading, but I wasn't really committed to calling it cell shading because I wasn't 100% sure. I love the color in this entire showcase. That's kind of like a little side tangent thing. Coming to Game Pass in 2024. Again, this feels like maybe a spring, summer title, just considering how much we saw of it. Yeah, other than that, I didn't get to see too much else of Towerborn. I think they had a little bit of a write-up on the Xbox Wire, but they didn't really say much. So, yeah. The one that I think I enjoyed the most out of this entire showcase, though, Clockwork Revolution from In Exile. So, like, you talk about things like The Bard's Tale and, like, Wasteland, I don't care. I really don't. I'm sorry. But then you put this game in front of me, and I'm like, oh, I'm pretty interested now. Of course, everybody's comparing this thing as like a Bioshock Infinite kind of vibe. I love steampunk aesthetics. I mean, I really, even though it was kind of like dark, like color-wise, like I thought like The Order 1886 was really cool. But it has like robots and automatons and stuff like that. You kind of have moments where you're like rewinding time, gives me some like Singularity vibes. And they describe it as an action RPG set in the world of Avalon. And we did not get a release date, and kind of like when they announced Cyberpunk 2077, when they said coming when it's ready, which it wasn't, they said coming in due time. So this might be a while, I would assume. Just seemed like, not to say the footage was really early, but it seemed maybe a little conceptual. I don't know. But yeah, I really like this game, Clockwork Revolution from In Exile. Sign me up. That might be FB another game. I'm gonna have to get an Xbox or get a more powerful PC to play, because that looked really interesting. Kind of thought we'd have some more. You know, I kind of assumed it'd be maybe a 2-hour time block where you maybe had the normal showcase for like an hour and a half, which is usually what you have, and then maybe have like a 30-minute Starfield Direct. So it was maybe about hour 10 into the show, and Phil Spencer showed up and just said, he showed up on stage wearing a Hexen t-shirt and basically just said, thanks for joining us today, which I thought was kind of surprising. I was like, oh, we're done already. We're going right into the Starfield thing. But the only thing he was really on stage to announce was just he have a 1 terabyte Xbox Series S and in black coming out in September for $349. So I want to say, what was like the Series S, the white one that launched, was like, what was like $512 or something like that, or I don't remember what it was. But yeah, we have a $50 price increase with the black and then the 1 terabyte storage instead. So that's about all he kind of mentioned. And then he mentioned, it's like, oh, we got one last thing. I'm like, oh, here we go. And then he's like, Starfield. I'm like, oh, okay, that's what it's going to be. So I thought maybe there was going to be something before Starfield when they showed it. But no, this is pretty much tied right into the Starfield Direct. I'm actually not going to spend a ton of time on this, as I know I'm kind of going long already. I'm not a big Bethesda Game Studios person, but I will say this. If I were to play a BGS game, it would probably be this one. I remember playing Skyrim, granted it was on PS3, so you can laugh at me if you want. I remember playing the opening, going into the first town, accidentally stealing some like bread or something, and then the entire town tried to kill me, and then I killed the entire town. And then I literally didn't know where to go after that. And that was my experience with Skyrim. So not great. It was confirmed afterwards, but I mean, I was expecting this to run at 30 frames per second, and it is. So yeah, 30 frames on Xbox consoles. I'm sure whatever frame rate you want on the other like PC and stuff like that. But yeah, they showed off so much customization and like so many little things. Ship and your player and your play style and your skill trees and whatever else. I'll admit I was kind of overwhelmed by all the stuff they showed. I mean, it looks phenomenal, don't get me wrong. I mean, the level of detail and the space combat looks fun. I think the shooting looks much improved, but this game is going to be so massive, and I probably, if I play this, I'm not going to interact with like half the things they talk about. They took a little break from a lot of it to just kind of show the new controller, new headset, and the collector's edition. I think the controller and the headset look really cool. I think that watch that comes with the collector's edition was pretty neat too. And yeah, don't have a ton else to say on this. Thought we might see for some reason a little bit at the showcase extended, but they didn't talk about that really at all. But yeah, September 6th, coming to Game Pass. Of course, better get ready to ask off work, because this is going to be a massive game for a lot of people, and I think this is gonna blow up for sure. I think it's gonna be a big game. a lot of people are going to be talking about it. I mean, it feels like Game of the Year is already solidified with Tears of the Kingdom coming out on Switch. But I would say if there's a game to challenge Tears of the Kingdom for Game of the Year, I think it's going to be Starfield. I think it's a long shot, just because Tears of the Kingdom is really set in stone for a lot of people. But we'll see how Starfield does when it comes out on September 6th. I was thinking about talking a little bit about the Showcase Extended. We got stuff like the High on Knife, which I guess is a standalone game maybe for High on Life, which is a game I actually want to play. Keanu Reeves sat down, talked a little bit more about Cyberpunk, saw a few other games here and there, saw a little bit more 33 Immortals. Not too much else shown overall. Yeah, overall, I think this was a really good showcase. When you look at everything they showed off, I mean, probably the top maybe top 3 for me. Clockwork Revolution, I know this is probably dumb when they showed all this other stuff out, but I really love that Sea of Thieves Legend of Monkey Island expansion. And maybe Avowed maybe might be the other thing. But yeah, just a really great show all in all. Just happy how they presented this, specifically after the kind of PlayStation showcase and maybe Summer Games Fest weren't the greatest that we've seen in previous years. But yeah, I was expecting Xbox to do pretty well, and I think they did really well as well. Like, a lot of Xbox Game Studio stuff showed up. A lot of things for Game Pass. Again, only maybe 3 or 4 things not coming to Game Pass, which is pretty usual for Xbox now. I mean, a lot of things they showcase are coming to Game Pass. So, but yeah, thanks so very much for listening. I'm not sure what channel is going to be posted on, if this is on the main channel or if this is on my little side gaming channel. I'll figure that out eventually. But yeah, I just want to thank you for watching. If you liked the video, you can give it a like and all that fun jazz. But yeah, until next time, hopefully have more kind of reaction showcase news things for you. Maybe we'll get a Nintendo Direct soon. You never know. I need more. We got to see some more like Pikmin 4. It's coming out soon. I don't know. But anyways, we'll see you later. Bye.